Hello everybody, welcome to Math Mastery again. My name is Tanvi and today I am going to teach a few questions from exercise of chapter 4 of statistics book. The chapter 4 is presentation of data. So the questions that I am going to discuss today are question number 12 and question number 15 from the exercise. Question number 12. Suppose you want to emphasize the increase in the share of urban non-workers and lower level of urbanization in India as shown in example 4.2. How would you do it in tabular form? So this example 4.2 is from the textbook, from the chapter itself of chapter 4 of textbook of class 11 statistics book. I will read out the text first. Census of India 2001 reported that Indian population had risen to 102 crore, of which only 49 crores were female against 53 crore males. 74 crore people resided in rural India and only 28 crore lived in towns or cities. While there were 62 crore non-workers population against 40 crore workers in the entire country, urban population had even higher share of non-workers, that is 19 crore against workers 9 crore, as compared to rural population where there were 31 crore workers out of 74 crore population. So this is a textual form of presentation of data, and the question asks us to find out the tabular form of the presentation of data, plus emphasizing on two aspects: one, the lower level of urbanization in India, and second, the higher share of non-workers in urban population. So for this we will categorize the data in two variables. First is dividing the population as workers and non-workers, and second dividing the population as urban population living in urban areas and population living in rural areas. Now as you can see here, that first I have given the appropriate heading to the table. The heading is categorization of population on the basis of workers and non-workers and region. Now you can see further that the row heading or the stubs is dividing the population as urban and rural, okay, whereas the column heading or captions are dividing the population as workers and non-workers. So by looking at the table, one can identify that the total urban population is 28 crores. The units I have mentioned in crores, okay. The rural population is 74 crores, okay, and the total worker are 40 crores and total non-workers are 62 crores. So the urban population as a proportion of the total population is very less, which you can see here. 28 crore as a proportion of 102 crore is less. And second, when you look further at only urban population, the share of workers and non-workers, the worker population is 9 crores, whereas the non-worker population is 19 crore out of total 28 crore urban population. Similarly, the share of workers in rural population is 31 crore, whereas the share of non-workers is 43 crores, as a total population of 74 crores of rural region. So you can see here, you can conclude that the share of non-worker population as a proportion of the total population in case of urban regions is higher as compared to share of non-worker population as a proportion of total population in case of rural region. 19 as a proportion of 28, 19 divided by 28 is a higher population as compared to 43 divided by 74. So by looking at the table, one can conclude that the urban population is less as compared to the rural population. Also, in urban population, the share of non-workers is higher as compared to worker population. So I hope this is clear. Question number 15. The following table shows the estimated sectoral real growth rates, percentage change over the previous year in GDP at factor cost. Represent the data as multiple time series graph. Now you see here, you are given the time period starting from 1994, 1995 to 1999, 2000, and the sectoral real growth rates of different sectors is given for each of these years. Now, how will we plot this in a multiple time series graph? So, the time period, in case of multiple time series graph, the time period, which is the year, will come on the x-axis, and we will use a separate bar for agriculture and allied sectors, industry and services for each of the years, and we will plot it in by using a multiple time series graph. So you see here, the blue colored bar is for agriculture and allied sectors, and the orange one is for industries, and the green one is for services. So we have, by looking at, you can see here that we have plotted this for each of the years on the x-axis, and the growth rate for each of these sectors is there on the y-axis. So by looking at the graph, one can compare that which sector is growing the most out of the three sectors every year, as well as we can compare it, this sector, for example agriculture, performance of agriculture and allied sectors for all the years, among all the years starting from 1994, 1995 to 1999, 2000. So you can see that the performance of agriculture and allied sector in 1994, 1995 was the growth rate was around 5%, whereas in the next year the growth rate has is negative, right? So and then further in the next year, 1996 and 1997, the growth rate has increased sharply till 10%. So you can compare each of the sectors over the period of time, and also the performance among different sectors for every time period. This is the advantage of a multiple time series graph. So I hope this is clear. And also you have to remember that you have to mention the title of the graph, you have to take the appropriate scale, you have to use different colors for different bars, and for every different time period there has to be a space between bars. So I hope this is clear. So with this, I will move to next chapter. In the next video I will be teaching the next chapter, chapter number 5, which is summarization of data. Thank you.